Just keep in the back of your mind that whatever you're going to learn from this journey, that knowledge and those skills will be with you forever. And that's a bonus. That's already progress. We're going to play this song one way or another. We're going to play it.
Okay, so the basics of it are that we're going on a quest to discover and learn this particular track, which we will name in a moment. I've arrived at this point having done some basic transcriptions in the past that I've shared on my channel, and I always looked at this particular track as one of the unattainable drumming tracks. I thought, you know, for somebody, a mere mortal like me, I would never be able to play this particular track on the drums. But having done these basic notations before and worked my way through certain pieces that I initially thought I would never be able to learn, it's kind of taught me that if you just follow a simple set of steps, ultimately you will achieve a goal. So it's just about laying those steps out and being kind of methodical but realistic, not necessarily looking at the end point too soon, but breaking it down into smaller parts that are more manageable. And if you do one part after the next, eventually, whether it's in 2 months, 6 months, 2 years, you will get to that point, you know? So that's where I'm coming from. That's why I'm kind of taking this challenge on. And of course, any quest like this needs a good couple of protagonists and somebody to accompany you on your journey. And you've kind of kindly jumped into the deep end with me and said that you're going to learn this track as well.
That's true. Well, mainly because I kind of wanted to help others out this year. You know, we have these New Year's resolutions that we discuss with ourselves every December. What am I going to do next year? What are my goals? And one of my goals was that, okay, I've done a lot of drumming and practicing myself and putting myself on display in my YouTube videos. Okay, I've done that for a while now, and I want to be able to use that experience to help other drummers on their journey and see if, you know, I can help them out, and ultimately we'll be helping each other out, because when you do take on a companionship like this, it's a journey that you'll take together. You'll be taking hurdles together, you'll be discussing stuff, and you'll be learning stuff together as well. So for me, life is all about you know, love, peace, understanding, helping others out, and for learning. So I guess that is why I'm eager to go on this journey with you, David.
I can think of no better companion for such a quest in that case, Martin. Very well put.
Cool. That's great.
So, shall we reveal the track that we're going to be attempting to learn?
You did the honor.
We are going to be attempting, ladies and gentlemen, I'm showing this to the camera here, we're going to be looking at Blackest Eyes by Porcupine Tree. Gavin Harrison obviously on drums, and this piece I've bought the rhythmic composition book, in which Terry Branham has kindly transcribed the whole of this track and what Gavin plays on the drums to this track, and I'm daunted. I'm overwhelmed when I look at this notation, because yeah, it's far beyond anything I've done before.
There's a lot of notes.
There's a lot of notes. There's a lot of complex sticking, I guess, in this piece. Certainly for me.
I don't know that yet. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. Let's give it the benefit of the doubt. It's going to be simple.
No, it's... I guess that when you look at the notation before you even have heard the song, that is quite a challenging song. But you know, that's a lot of notes on one page, which might, you know, make you nervous. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's pretty that's a pretty what's the word? I guess that's legit. That feeling.
Yep. Yep.
But I didn't start out that way. I always listen to the song first.
Mm-hmm.
And you might not know this, but I have seen Gavin Harrison play a couple of times.
You've seen him in the flesh?
Yeah, I've seen him play a couple of times with King Crimson.
Wow.
And I can't remember. I saw Porcupine Tree play once in the early 2000s, and I can't recall whether he was on drums or not. Maybe because Stephen Wilson is such an eye catcher.
Mm-hmm.
When Stephen is on stage, I've seen him with Porcupine Tree, and I've seen him a couple of times on solo tours. He's the kind of guy you just need to watch whenever he's performing. That doesn't mean that all the other guys in the band aren't worth watching, but somehow Stephen has got this
stage presence.
Yes. And he doesn't have to do any flashy moves, or he doesn't have to bang his head, or he doesn't have to do "hey-oh" to get your attention. It's not that kind of stage presence, but it's just he draws you in somehow. Gavin obviously didn't get my attention, the kind of attention that he deserved when I saw him then, but in King Crimson it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Because in King Crimson, the drums are in front of the stage, right? And for people who don't know this, Gavin Harrison is one of 3 drummers performing with King Crimson live, and so the drums are in front of the stage, and the rest of the band are behind him, and what's cool about these 3 drummers is that they are all totally different drummers. And I guess Gavin is the drummer of those 3 that is technically the most daunting and the most proficient and the most challenging of the 3.
Yeah.
And he definitely has your attention when you're watching him perform with that ensemble. When you listen to this song for the first time, you can hear a couple of things. The timing is super solid. The playing is very tasteful.
Yep.
And without looking at the notation, you can hear, especially in a couple of fills that he's playing, that you're going to have to work as a drummer to be able to pull that off.
Yes, definitely.
So that was my first. After a first listen, that was my experience. This is going to be challenging.
I think your drumming brain, your CPU in Gavin Harrison terms, is a lot more advanced than mine. And when I listen to this track, I go between feeling like some of the grooves in it are quite, I guess, deceptively simple. They sound quite... Gavin Harrison isn't one of these players who just plays for chops and plays to impress people, right? He plays for the song. So some of the drumming in this track sounds quite achievable. But then there are other parts and fills and transitions that you're just kind of like, okay, I've no idea what's going on there. If I didn't have the notation to refer to, I would never be able to work it out. But that's so complicated that how am I ever going to be able to play it even when I do know what's being played? So I go between, some of this is quite cool and laid back, and I could probably pick that up quite easily. And then he plays a fill and you're like, okay, no.
Don't give up yet.
I know. So how are we going to approach this? We've talked about potentially breaking it down into certain sections and kind of devoting a period of time, like a couple of months, to each section to kind of go through that together. do we think, still the best way to approach it?
I think so, because it's quite human to feel intimidated by all this technical stuff that's going on when you listen closely. But I think it's a great idea to just chop it up into sections, this song, and start off with the one that we think is the easiest. It might not be the easiest, might not be that easy, but you have to start somewhere, right? You don't when you only get intimidated by all that fancy stuff that he's playing throughout the song, you're gonna give up. You're gonna feel intimidated, and you're gonna think, "I'll never be able to achieve that." But when you chop it up into certain steps, and use certain techniques there are for learning and mastering stuff, then we might be able to do it.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. And I'd say let's go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So the sections in this song, we've basically looked at the notation and taken the sections that are basically written in the notation, which is intro, verse, chorus, and outro. Those are the only sections that are actually named in the notation, and there's 4 chunks, and it seems logical to take those 4 chunks and say, right, let's do one chunk first. So I think we've looked at the verse potentially as being the simpler of the parts to learn, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And then saving things like the intro and the outro till last, because certainly the intro to me looks a lot more daunting.
Yes.
As does the outro.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the verse first, then potentially the chorus, and then really it's a toss-up for me between the intro and the outro, which one is more complicated. But I guess with repeated listening and kind of analysing it, we'll kind of understand soon enough which is potentially going to be easier. Yeah.
I think it helps once you get a feel for the song, to be able to master it. Because I have this huge collection of vinyl, but there isn't any Porcupine Tree record in there.
Okay.
I don't know why. I guess it's still on my wish list, and my wish list is huge. But when you have a song that you want to master and you have a feel for the song and some kind of love for that song, it's easier because you'll probably be listening to it also for entertainment.
Yeah.
Because you like that song, right? It's not just that you like the drumming and you wish to master the drumming. No, you're going to listen to that song because you love the song. You might listen to the song in your car, or whether you're on the bus or doing the dishes or whatever, because you just think it's a great song, and that really helps when you master when you want to master a particular track.
Yeah.
And for me, I might have heard that song before, but it didn't struck that chord, for one reason or another, to go out and buy that record and listen to that song over and over again. Somehow that didn't happen in the past. So you presented that song to me. Let's take on this particular track. And so I started listening, and when you're going to analyze it, you're going to analyze the stuff. What is it that I really love about the song? And I'm still not quite sure what I love about the song.
Yeah.
I'm still not there yet.
I think for me it's hard to describe with my limited drumming knowledge what it is I love about this song.
Is it just the drumming?
I think it's not just the drumming. I think it is definitely the whole piece. But the drumming in particular, when I listen to this track, I'm kind of blown away by the musicality of the drums. And what interests me about using this track as a kind of long-term quest like this is I feel like I'm never going to get bored learning it. This feels like one of those songs that even when I've figured it out, I could spend the rest of my life playing it and never quite achieve perfection. And it's something that will always give me something else each time I look at it. You know, it's got a lot of different elements to it and a lot of different shades, I guess. Like I said, some of it sounds quite simple, but other parts of it are obviously a lot more complicated, but they're complicated because they add to the whole piece. And for me to be able to try and master those bits as well, I know is going to take me a long time, but I'll always be interested in trying to get there, you know?
Great. So to sum it up, you would love to master this song because you think the drumming on it is challenging and appeal to you?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. 100%.
Cool. Yeah. Because I'm not sure about myself yet why I want to master this song. Sure. Obviously, I think it's a great. I'm really looking forward to take on this journey with you, go on an adventure, you know, and that's pretty exciting to me to begin with. And when I take a look at the song itself, I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
I think the drumming is ridiculous. You know, because as you say, Gavin plays for the song and gives the song a distinct groove and rhythmic component. But he also excels at some points where there is space for him to excel. You know, playing fills or playing fast stuff around the drums for just a few moments, which are musically super interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
In other words, I don't love the song yet.
Okay.
But maybe that doesn't matter.
It certainly doesn't put you off, though, right?
No, it doesn't put me off at all. Maybe it's because I have this specific Stephen Wilson period on which I think he really reached his peak, and I'm comparing it with that, and that's not fair.
Yeah.
Because you know, this obviously is a super well crafted song in all respects, in songwriting and in the instrument, how the instruments are played. This is a superb song. You can't, you can't really argue about it. Whether you like it or not, that's a different conversation. But the motive for me to take this song on is because I want to go on an adventure with David Stroud.
That's very kind of you to sacrifice yourself.
I don't look at it that way at all. I don't look at it in that way at all. I think it's great to to get to know people, right? We're drumming friends.
Yeah.
We're learning stuff. Not only on the drums, but also about life. We're learning. We share an interest in audio and video. We're learning stuff from each other that way. Yeah. We're learning stuff about life. We're learning stuff about friendship, about goals, about purpose.
Yeah.
And I think that's super valuable.
Absolutely.
And I love to connect with people like that, and in this case, I think it's great to connect with you on this level. And this song, that's just the vehicle we're going to use.
Sure. And
I'm thrilled about it. I think it's great.
Because this is obviously we're doing this over video and from home because lockdown, and also because we're in separate countries. But this is a perfectly valid thing to do, even if it wasn't over video and with people in another country. You know, if your friend down the road, or if your bandmate wants to help you learn a song, then you can do this in person and in normal circumstances. And it's a great, like you say, it's a great vehicle for kind of learning about each other and how you overcome certain challenges together, you know?
Excellent.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to treat this as a kind of a long-term kind of quest. We've talked about maybe 2 months per section, 4 sections, that's kind of 8 months. So that takes us out towards the end of the year. So we're going to jump back on in the future with some more kind of updates from how we're both approaching this in a kind of like diary kind of journaling style. And yeah, so for the next couple of months, we're going to look at the verse. So just very quickly, what's your approach? What's your approach going to be? Do you know what your approach is going to be for the next kind of 8 weeks looking at the verse?
To cut a long story short, I'm going to move house. I'm going to move to another house in the next 2 months. Yeah. And I already packed my drums. For some reason, I packed my drums first. I needed to start somewhere, so I did that first, but it's okay. What I'm going to do for concerning the verse is I'm going to intensely listen to the song and really try to understand what's going on first without the notation, and if I'm in doubt, then I'll take the notation and I'll check.
Okay, yeah.
But somehow the notation looks very intimidating, right? Mm-hmm. So I'll try to prevent having to use that as long as possible. Yeah. I just want to get a feel for the song, because right now I'm just listening to it analytically.
Yes. Yeah.
Is that the right word? Yeah. And I just want to listen to this song and love it.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna spend the next 2 months listening.
Yeah.
Because I won't be able to play any drums to it. How about yourself?
So you're going to listen to the song first without the notation. You're going to refer to the notation if you're unclear about anything. Mm-hmm. For me, I think I'm going to look at what am I going to do? I feel like what I should do, what would work for me, is looking at the notation and almost copying that notation into MuseScore myself. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But maybe looking at the different parts first. So looking at the relationship between like the bass and the snare and trying to understand that, and then probably layering on like the cymbals and the hats and stuff. And then kind of building it up piece by piece, kind of reconstructing it, if you like. Because I've listened to this song so much already that I feel like I now need to take it apart to then put it back together to learn it. Does that make sense? Yeah, it does. So you say you already listened to this song a lot of times. Yeah. And I think it's a great idea to start with the kick and the snare drum. How do they work together in the verse? Yeah. Did you already have a listen and analyze that? I haven't really done that yet. I haven't critically listened to the verse and kind of picked it apart. But looking at the notation, I mean, the obvious thing when I look at the notation for the verse is there's obviously a lot of cymbal work going on. It almost feels like that's the most important part, because that's the part with the most notes on the notation. So in a super simple way of looking at it, that's the most important part to try and maybe get right. But I think the bass and the snare certainly look a lot more understandable to my eyes. I guess I'm used to kind of thinking first and foremost about bass and snare and then putting other stuff on top. So that's my very basic look at it,
True. People inside, people that are listening, people who are not drummers, they will be listening to that kick and snare foremost.
Yes.
So it's obvious that when we're going to play this song together, the kick and snare, they have to be right. They have to be spot on, right? They have to be accurate.
Yeah.
The cymbal work and the hi-hat work, that's secondary. That doesn't mean that we're going to have to, don't take that seriously, because we want to master and we want to learn stuff. But let's start out with that kick and snare feel. Then add the cymbal work to it.
Yeah.
By the way, have you noticed in the description? There's a description, right? There's a of the song in which Gavin says that he has an auxiliary hi-hat and an auxiliary snare. I just read this morning, and I didn't hear it.
Okay.
I didn't hear it on the recording during first listen, so
right.
That might not be an extra challenge at all.
Yeah, hopefully
in fact,
I don't have to buy more drums. But if we have to buy more drums, then we have to, right, for the track.
Yeah, that's not a shame.
No, not a shame.
That's not a bad thing.
I think the other thing I'm going to do is find if I can find a video of Gavin playing this track.
Oh yeah.
There's almost certainly videos out there of him playing this, so it'd be really good to look at that and see how he's actually how he looks behind the kit as he's playing it, and what he's actually doing, because obviously a lot of that doesn't come through when you're just looking at the notation. You're trying to figure out how you play it, and even for me being a left-hander playing open-handed, that's maybe going to change how I play this myself. So and you're obviously going to potentially learn this on acoustic as well, right, rather than electric.
Yeah.
So
because the way you play, David, you don't necessarily need to adjust your playing style, but maybe you find you need to adjust your setup.
Right. Yeah.
That could also be a possibility that you find for this particular track. I need to move my right cymbal to the other side. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we'll find out along the way.
We will definitely find out many things along the way. So thank you very much for agreeing to accompany me on this quest. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll check back in with some more videos very soon.